Happy New Year, Jamaica! That's right, we're still celebrating the start of 2021 as we look forward to the months ahead with great expectations. I'm Theodore Henry, taking you through this informative half-hour journey on Jamaica Magazine. Coming up, we look at how the public sector is being transformed and modernized. Also, how you can become a better parent. Later, learn how we can prevent hazards through computer-simulated predictions. Stay with us for these and more interesting features.
Informing.
Jamaica today confirmed its first imported case of coronavirus.
Educating.
If you follow the recommended procedures, it is highly likely that you will not get the disease.
Going beyond to keep you informed and connected.
Welcome to Get the Fact.
Even through the pandemic. Helping you stay safe while we protect ourselves. Dependable. Impactful. Accurate.
This is your JIS News.
Credible. Trustworthy. Every day, everywhere. Serving our customers proudly.
How we are going all of that? You're moving?
No. I'm a passport, but come for renewing, you know. But you want me to show me no in that place full of crowd and the long line that take you all day. Make sure you walk with some food. And
no, man, things improve, man. Them have a lot of drop box where you can use inside. It finishing in no time.
Yeah,
man, them are done.
Yeah. And some food, man. Try this. A drop box.
Transformation is happening across the public sector. Many services are now available online. We are building a better public service for all. Brought to you by the Transformation Implementation Unit.
The public sector is changing and adapting to the new realities of a modern, fast-paced technological world. With this continued transformation and modernization, the government seeks to put in place innovative systems for more efficient delivery of state services. Learn more in this feature.
Innovation steers our economic well-being, and at the cusp of our economy are our public entities. The thirst for improvement in areas such as ICT technology, human resource management, trade and investment, and management of public sector costs are being watered through the Public Sector Transformation Program. The Public Sector Transformation Program, PSTMP, has been reshaping the face of how we conduct business in our public offices across Jamaica by designing new processes and procedures purposed at creating an effective, efficient, and functioning environment for businesses. At some point, you may have been part of this experience. Excessive bureaucratic processes, high transaction costs and time, inadequate human resource management are some issues penned in the salutation that read, "Respectfully, we cannot continue as we are, as the people of Jamaica, our partners and colleagues, are adversely affected by inefficient service delivery, which, by extension, pulls on our economic strides." It was then enveloped and addressed over 4 years. A trained workforce equipped with the knowledge and tools to execute internal as well as external relations is critical to the success of this program. With this, the PSTMP has forged a design that will see the reform and modernization in the areas of efficiency and IT, shared corporate services, rationalization of public bodies, human resource management transformation, and compensation management. These projects are at varying stages of planning, design, and execution, but importantly, the vision is charted in action, and in some instances, the success is evident. Human resource departments across ministries, departments and agencies and government-led organizations are now privy to a digital rewrite with the new MyHR Plus online platform with over 16,000 public sector workers using the system. These projects aim to create a public sector environment fit for purpose, providing dependable services to civil servants, clients, and external partners. Standing at the center of the economy, it's pivotal that we build a structure that is strapping and robust, one that makes Jamaica the place of choice.
Are you aware of how Jamaican adolescents use social media? What do they do online? What do they post? Do you know if they are being harassed? These are questions you should be asking yourself because it is your duty to keep your children safe online. Parents, here's what you need to do. Be active online and offline. Help your child to set up his or her online profile. Make sure you familiarize yourself with the different social media applications that they use and set some rules. Protect our nation's children and save them from cybercriminal attacks.
Reduce your risk of viral illnesses like the flu and coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing with a tissue and dispose of it. Avoid close contact with anyone with the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or the nearest health center and share your travel history. The flu and coronavirus can kill. Let's protect each other. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
By applying the right techniques, parents can guide their children and help them to become their best. Keep watching for tips on how to improve your parenting skills and pull out the best in your child.
For teenagers, it's a little harder in some ways, and in other ways it's a little easier because they do understand the difference between right and wrong. It's clearer what are some of the things that they love, and you can remove those things. But one of the things that's really important with teenagers is really to take the time to make sure that they understand that their feelings and their opinions are valued. So in the moment, yes, I'm removing these things, but I'm also having a conversation with you about why you won't have access to these things for a particular period, right? We're explaining why this thing might be dangerous to you, whether or not you agree with it. I am the parent, right? This is where I am coming from. It really requires a conversation because ultimately what you want to teach them to do, is to reason and to think, right? You don't want to just be disciplining and you're not helping them to think through it and to use proper judgment and reasoning skills. And so those are some of the things that you can try.
If the child becomes stubborn, the child is more obstinate, and the child has a fixed mindset, if you will, that this is what he or she is going to continue to do, then you might need professional help. You might need to call the commission, or you might need to call a social worker or a guidance counselor to help for you, because sometimes parents don't have the language either to even explain explain why this behavior is wrong. And that causes friction. Once the friction starts, then we recommend that you get a third party involved because it could become worse.
Can be very frustrating, and a lot of times people don't feel like they really have an answer to everything, and the truth is that that is the reality. But there are different things that people can try. We're not saying that any one thing works for everybody or that you'll even get the outcome that you want immediately. Especially when you're dealing with young children, you might have to try something several times before you see a particular result. So for example, if it is that you want a child to learn the difference between right and wrong, a lot of times in the past we use pain to teach that this is wrong, right? But we find that ultimately when you hit a child, what you're teaching them to do is when I don't like something, I should hit and I should lash out. What you want to try in a situation like that, you can try removing privileges. If there are things that the child might love to do, or even the age-old timeout, you know, where you say, listen, for this period, you have to sit by yourself, there's no communication, there's no talking, sit down and be still. Sometimes you have to physically just hold your child and help them to breathe through it, because you have some children where they have so much emotion and so much anger and they want to get it out that it's really difficult for them to regulate it at such a young age. And so you have to physically hold them, put your hand on them, help them to breathe through it until they're calm. And with children, even if they don't understand necessarily the big concept of right and wrong, they can sometimes understand tone, right? And tone is not the same thing as lashing out and using certain words and calling them different names. Tone is being firm and saying, I do not want you on this. So for example, if a child keeps going off on something, you might have to take them off it 10 times, right? And continue to reinforce with the same tone and consistency that you do not want them on this. And also for younger children, sometimes you have to be the one to remove whatever it is that you don't want them to interact with from the environment, right? Because they're so young and so impulsive, you can't necessarily leave it to them to understand I shouldn't touch this thing, right? So that's how we deal with the younger children.
By order, under the Disaster Risk Management Act, you must wear a mask in all public access places and in public transportation. If you wear a mask and I wear a mask, we are all safer.
Recover with integrity. Recover with integrity. We should all work together. One aim, one vision. In the fight against corruption, there is no division. United with the Integrity Commission. Let's stand up and make a healthy decision that we will not turn a blind eye. We will not cheat secret lives. We will not accept no bribes. We will not push values aside.
A message from the Integrity Commission.
We're faced with disasters such as earthquakes, floods, and hurricanes in our region. Through computer simulations, it is possible to predict the impact of any of these hazards on our environment and building infrastructure, and so implement measures to reduce or avoid losses. Learn more in this next feature.
Floods and earthquakes are two of the most common natural disasters. But unlike earthquakes, which usually take us by surprise, flooding to some extent can be predicted. Through the use of revolutionary technology, awareness of the possible outcomes of a natural disaster has become more advanced. Persons are now able to use data on location, roof, and house type
to create a simulation of what may happen in an earthquake, tropical storm, or hurricane.
The simulation was designed to combine place, type of structure, and event. Because Jamaica is vulnerable to four types of events: hurricane/tropical storms, landslides, floods, and earthquakes. But the same building that you live in is exposed to all four. And that same building you live in will react differently to all four.
Jamaica's landscape equally sits in low-lying and coastal areas as on hills and valleys. The country is also in an earthquake zone, so it can't hurt to do a little research on all the what-ifs, right?
You'll be able to go inside your house and see your roof being blown off, or your slab roof staying on. You'll be inside your slab roof house when earthquake shakes, it comes down on you. We'll be able to have those type of simulations.
How about the possible outcome of a Category 5 hurricane if you're living in a zinc roof wooden house that is built on stilts in a river valley? So now that these predictions are available to us, just how useful are they?
This simulator is now designed to take all of that information, the conventional knowledge that we as academics know, or the disaster management professional knows, dump it online as we have. Let the developer, housing developer, have access to it and see for himself. Let the parish council person or the development approval authority play with it.
And once they've viewed it, the authorities can use the data to plan areas for development, approve or deny development applications, and build better. The simulator is not just a special effect disaster interactive tool, but one that takes into account the realities of environmental and living conditions here in Jamaica.
And the simulator also seeks to bring an awareness of the impact natural disasters may have on lives, properties, and businesses in relation to the country's national goals.
The effect a hazard would have on everything ranging from the individual to the nation is important, and scaremongering only goes so far.
The simulator allows you to either scare yourself or reassure yourself, but it's based on reality.
Another useful element to this drill is the data it uses. Historical data are planted and come to life through the simulator to facilitate emergency responses as well as forward planning in action.
Knowing where hazards are and knowing where they're not is extremely valuable information to businesses such as insurance. Instead of blanketing Portland as a hazard-prone parish, we can know which parts of Portland are hazard-prone, therefore allowing people in Portland who are not in hazard-prone areas to get lower insurance premiums. You underwrite them differently. And you also underwrite more accurately and properly the people who are in hazard-prone zones.
So, if you have already bought your dream home or are thinking of buying or building, you may want to try a few simulation exercises to test the stability of your home or to find out if where you intend to build is the best place to put down roots.
I really hope that those who are listening to my voice will take an introspection of themselves and check out how they have been operating the motorcycle. Are you operating with an helmet, an elbow pad, a knee pad, a jacket, a shoulder pad? Are you wearing shoes instead of slippers? Have you removed the mirrors from the motorcycles? Obedience better than sacrifice. Do the right thing. Are you going to ensure that you buckle up in the motor vehicle and the persons in the motor vehicle behind your back, your passengers, are they buckle up? Are you going to ensure that? Are you going to give yourself adequate time to reach your destination so that you don't have to be in any haste, so that you don't help to clog up the health sector? Nobody should be going to the hospitals because of traffic crashes. Nobody. They are preventable, they are avoidable. We can make better choice than that.
The Ministry of Labour and Social Security, through the Jamaica Productivity Centre, JPC, has been developing and implementing programs as well as conducting workshops to assist individuals, companies and firms optimize their efficiency and drive productivity improvement in Jamaica. The JPC recently hosted a virtual session that brought accomplished individuals and high achievers in one setting to share needed information on how productivity can be achieved and its impact on society. Productivity, in simple terms, is how efficient an input is converted to output. When this happens, economic growth and the country's development is fueled because of the increased goods and services produced with greater efficiency. Businesses will realize higher profit as they produce more outputs from lower input due to the systems they implement. Their competitiveness will improve and they will be able to better compensate employees. Citizens will realize improvements in their standard of living and will be able to exercise higher levels of consumption of goods and services even with reduced working hours. Higher economic growth measured by increased gross domestic product (GDP) output resulting from an increase in productivity will also benefit the country. How? Through the generation of larger tax revenue for government. This allows for greater investments in infrastructure and services, including education, healthcare, welfare, transportation, roads, water, and more. Gross domestic product (GDP) is the sum of labor productivity, capital intensity growth, and total factor productivity. Therefore, increases in all three areas equate to us having a booming economy. JPC has found that there are several factors that hamper productivity that need to be treated with urgency. They include bureaucracy, low value-added production, crime, traffic congestion, lack of suitable technology and capital investment, as well as job and skill mismatch and limiting international trade flows. As it relates to labor productivity, the JPC recommends that companies and firms, public or private, small or large, research what is happening in their industry and make innovative changes on a consistent basis. Where enterprises are shifting from being more labor-intensive to technology, such as artificial intelligence, they must seek to create the right balance between human effort and technology to optimize productivity. Integrating the right technology and a smart business process that is measurable, result-based and time-based is now an essential part of the solution for firms to optimize productivity. This includes establishing customer service platforms and payment gateways that are responsive. Every worker needs to know what is required of them, with the worker and supervisor using verifiable established targets.
You cannot improve if you're not measuring. You won't know what to do, and we'll just be all based on a gut feeling. And so that's one of the things we want to encourage us, even as individuals, organizations, to have that culture or habit of measuring and measuring what matters, right? And not just measuring everything, but measuring what matters and working to improve on those gaps that exist.
The Labour and Social Security Ministry, through the Jamaica Productivity Centre, has started its very own modernization exercise through the institution of a digital records management system, moving a number of its services online as it upgrades its network and investing in new technologies to improve efficiency. Investing in research and development and facilitating the creative, scientific and technological expertise of Jamaicans will spur innovation and the creation of new products and services to transform industries to meet the demands of the fourth industrial revolution.
For example, we have agriculture. agriculture could be transformed to an high-level agricultural sector. And I'm thinking also with that, there can also be greater linkages between the goods producing and service producing sector.
Enhancing productivity, quality and competitiveness through world-class individuals will require a culture of continuous training.
We have to learn how to accept or create structures that allow innovation, allow change, to build a culture of continuous learning and improvement. Let us start with access to broadband. Broadband can give us that quantum leap forward in Jamaica. Tied with a digital literacy program for people of all ages. Tied with schools that focus on continuous learning and continuous improvement.
We need higher education and more focused training programs, upskilling the global services industry. So that's basically like the BPO.
There's the possibility for individuals to use the internet and free education available online to advance productivity and for maximizing on remote working in this increasingly digital world.
Working on your own individual digital literacy, being familiar with the tools that are out there, not just for consumption, but what the possibilities are. And there's so many resources online that you can find to do that. Coursera, Udemy, and these are their platforms in their own right. Another one too that's really good, because I find that the things on Coursera and Udemy tend to maybe work best if you've already completed high school and university. If you need to bring your math skills up to date, you can use a resource like Khan Academy.
Increased education and training, certification, quality management and leadership, rewards and incentives, innovation, having the right technology, automation and tools, and using those to full capacity are all key tenets of long-term productivity. Of course, all this doesn't necessarily mean working harder. Instead, it's all about working smarter.
We will overcome the threat.
The public health team began to develop protocols that would help to delay the entry of the virus into the country, contain its spread, and slow the transmission among the population.
We will be implementing an unprecedented $25 billion fiscal stimulus.
We remain committed to making this a decade of growth for Jamaica.
The 2020 Year in Review, January 4 to 26, 2021, Mondays to Fridays inside Jamaica Magazine. That's the 2020 Year in Review, building forward together.
And with that, we end today's journey on Jamaica Magazine. You've been great company, so be sure to join us again tomorrow for another show. Until then, continue to watch these and other programs by logging on to our website, jis.gov.jm, or subscribing to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry, wishing you a wonderful new year.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.